he fell. He didn't finish. The judges declared him the winner anyway. Welcome to the Olympic Games of 67 AD, where the greatest athletic achievement wasn't faster, higher, stronger, but simply the fact that you were born the Emperor of Rome. The great, the terrible, and the incredibly creative Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus adored art, theater, and sports. So much so that he genuinely believed he was an unrivaled genius in absolutely everything he tried. And while ordinary people trained for years, sweating blood to earn a coveted laurel wreath, all Nero had to do was simply want one. And when the emperor wants something, the laws of logic, physics, and common sense in the Roman Empire politely step aside. Especially for His Majesty, the Greeks performed a true Olympic miracle. They postponed the 211th Olympic Games by 2 years. Why? Oh, simply because Nero's original schedule had more important state affairs, like a singing tour with his lyre in Naples. Sports can wait while Caesar warms up his vocal cords. What's more, the entire program for the Games was rewritten to include acting, kithara playing, and singing competitions, in which, by pure coincidence, Nero planned to personally participate. But the culmination of this whole sporting comedy was to be the legendary chariot races at the massive ancient hippodrome. This was the most prestigious, most dangerous, and most spectacular sport of the time, where chariots regularly shattered into splinters and riders risked their lives. All the normal, professional participants, who had prepared for this day their entire lives, brought standard quadrigas to the starting line, light chariots pulled by 4 horses. But Nero was the emperor. Why should he be like all those plebeians? To demonstrate the full power and glory of Rome, he ordered his personal chariot to be harnessed with 10 wild, thoroughbred, foam-flecked horses. Just picture it. A huge, clumsy behemoth of 10 horses running completely out of sync. And in the middle of all this chaos stands the emperor in a golden wreath, vainly trying to hold a dozen reins. Nero's skill at controlling this wild contraption was approximately 0. At the very first sharp turn of the hippodrome, the laws of physics made a harsh reminder of their existence. The chariot is thrown sideways, a wheel flies off, and the great Caesar is epically ejected from his ride, tumbling through the mud, manure, and dust right under the hooves of his rival's terrified horses. A dead, ringing silence falls over the stands. Thousands of spectators, in a panic, held their tongues. Because, according to the laws of the time, a single misplaced chuckle at the fallen emperor could get you sent straight from the stands to be fed to wild beasts or to the mines. While servants frantically dragged the bruised, filthy, and furious Nero off the track, the race continued. The emperor's chariot was wrecked. His horses had scattered. He himself was lying on the grass, gasping for breath, and the finish line was crossed first by a completely different, truly professional athlete. A pure, absolute, and undeniable facepalm that should have gone down in history as the greatest disgrace. But then, the Greek judges, the Hellanodikai, enter the arena. They faced an incredibly difficult existential choice. On one hand, the fair rules of the Olympics, sporting ethics, and the guy who actually finished first. On the other hand, an enraged Nero, huge bags of Roman gold, and the very tangible prospect of their entire judging panel being crucified along the roadside for an incorrect ruling. After a brief consideration for their own health, the judges delivered the most absurd, brilliant, and surreal verdict in the history of world sports. Nero is declared the official winner of the Olympic races. The judges' logic was so ironclad that it was impossible to argue against. They basically declared, well, look, Nero was riding a 10-horse chariot, wasn't he? He was. And he theoretically would have definitely come in first and beaten everyone if he hadn't fallen and crashed. And since that's the case, why pay attention to such trivial details as the finish line? The man tried. He fell for a worthy cause. So, the golden wreath goes to him. The funniest part is that Nero accepted this award with a completely straight face, as if it were something he had truly earned. In the end, from those postponed Olympic Games, the emperor took home to Rome more than 1,000 laurel wreaths. He won every poetry contest, every theatrical performance, every musical number, and even the sporting events where he didn't even bother to show up and was simply listed as a participant. The Greeks got so carried away with pleasing the tyrant that they declared Nero the winner even in sports he just watched from the stands, clapping his hands. True, athletic karma caught up with the champion rather quickly. Just a year after this triumph, a rebellion broke out in Rome. Nero was declared an enemy of the people, and he was forced to cut his own throat. And all his Olympic victories, bought with bribes and fear, were immediately annulled by the terrified Greeks and erased from all official records. And that is the true